Brother, I'm going, run a wild Hulk Hogan. If I like get some moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this joy cord. But it's no holds barred, middle fingers like I'm Stone Cold.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Slap and Me Wrestling Podcast. I'm WeTooDeep, that's DJWAVYD. Just like we always mention, QR code in the bottom right of the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, scan that or click the link in the description. Go buy you some merch. Maybe you want you some CM Punk shirt. Maybe, I think Cody's got some new stuff out. Buy yourself a title belt. I know this past weekend with Backlash, they were doing like free delivery. You could have used our code then. Outside of that, we don't really got much other sort of housekeeping. All the links and everything's still in the description. So with that, let's jump on into our show here. Let's start with Let's Get Cooking. And for this week, I asked Wavy D and myself, now that Bianca and Jade Cargill have won the tag champions, like we sort of all suspected they would, I think Wavy D went a perfect 5 for 5 this weekend on his results.
I had a technically, yeah.
Yeah, technically. And so we all kind of saw this title change happening now that they're champions. Book their title run. How does it go? When does it end? And what? And so I'll let you go first. And
all right.
Let's see if you can cook on this one.
Chef Wavy in the building. Let's get cooking. So, my plan for Bianca and Jade is very simple. You give them the belts. You let them run rampant until like Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. You know what I'm saying? The better part of the year. They run through everyone. They run through Damage Control again. They run through Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. They run through Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. They run through Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. Whatever NXT gals are down there tag teaming it up. Because I know there's not really a tag team division down there right now because there's no tag titles.
Right.
So a lot of them are doing solo work down there in NXT. But I'm sure you can find some people to throw together. Candice LeRae and my bae Indy Hartwell. You know what I'm saying? Asuka and Io. Asuka and I already said Damage Control anyways. But anyways, yeah, you give Bianca and Jade Cargill the titles like you already did. Let them run rampant. And honestly, I think you let them beat themselves. I think they lose the belts due to like imploding, whether it be like Jade Cargill says one or two things that rub Bianca the wrong way over a couple weeks and end up turning on each other. Maybe Jade thinks she's getting too big for the tag team and she wants to explore stuff on her own. Or Jade makes a comment like, I got your back. I always have to get your back, or something like that. Or I always gotta save you, or something like that. Something slick that seems very minuscule, but like it builds amongst the tension between the two of them for a while. And I think you just have them implode, or one of them turns on the other mid-match, costing the other one to take the pin. Most likely, Jade turns on Bianca because Jade. Bianca is their female John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you want to, make her, dive into her character a little bit, show more aggression. You don't really turn her heel, even though I would like it. But from a, corporate financial standpoint, there's no point in turning Bianca heel right now. She's your Cody, your Cena. She's one of those characters. Your Rey Mysterio is one of those guys. But Jade Cargill can play a heel. She played a heel-esque character over at AEW. So yeah, and then eventually, titles, they could lose the titles, around like Royal Rumble or something, and then you build up the two of them facing each other at Mania next year. Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. Jade's first, or no, she was at WrestleMania. Well, first solo match at WrestleMania, and then Bianca, who has an undefeated streak currently at what, like 4-0 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's no Undertaker type stuff, but she's 4-0. And then, you get Bianca versus Jade at Mania next year. So something pretty simple. I don't see a tag team really taking away from them.
Right.
There's currently no established tag teams. We don't know what the future holds, but currently there's no tag team that I can see taking the titles off of them realistically.
Right. So my sort of thought was similar to yours. I think Triple H booking, TKO, all of them, whoever's in charge, they've already pinned it. Bianca Jade in Las Vegas, WrestleMania 41. That's the plan. If everything sticks to that plan, there's no injuries and anything like that, that's going to be the match. So what that does for us right now is that essentially gives us 11 months to build a title run, a reason for them to split, and then the feud itself. More than enough time. It's not that complex. You did it. I basically did the same thing you did. Have them run through the tag division, and as that's happening, you have the biggest woman star in Bianca Belair in the company probably. I would do it a little different. And so I know what you just said is true, and Bianca's probably not turning. But I don't necessarily think you have to turn her fully into a heel for her to play more of a, I am the EST, and I came down to help you, and I would have Jade sort of become ungrateful for Bianca's help. And Bianca starting to feel some type of way about it. And that is what causes Bianca to sort of, leave Jade in the dust. You're ungrateful. I came down and tried to help you, and you were just ungrateful. Because I think as much as Jade could play a heel, I don't necessarily think that Triple H is going to make her one. SmackDown is sort of where he's really building a lot of his baby faces over there. It's sort of like Raw's where the bad guys are, and SmackDown are where the good guys. You got Cody over there now. I mean, outside of Jay being on Raw, it seems like all of Raw's top guys are the bad guys, right? Gunther, Damage Control, stuff
Drew.
like that. Drew. And so I think he's also, Triple H is more nuanced in his storytelling, where it could be, good and good together. He doesn't really have to necessarily be face and heel in a feud. It's more of just, you're ungrateful. And, it could even turn into, like a standard, because let's just be honest, in a real fight, a lot of times if you go out on randomly and just see a random fight, a lot of times it's not like an evil person and a good person fighting each other. It's just two people that are pissed off at each other. And so I think Triple H is going to bring that more sort of realism to the product. It could just be Bianca and Jay just having a cat fight because one's jealous of the other or whatever. And so I think that happens at Survivor Series. And it doesn't matter who the tag team is. Some team that doesn't stand a chance, but because of the implosion, win the titles. Whether if it's Damage Control again, or if it's some new created team, or if it's, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn or whoever, doesn't really matter. I kind of want it to be Candice and Indy, to be honest with you. But at this point, it doesn't really matter who the team is. Some underdog is going to win the title, but the bigger story is going to be the implosion of these two giants in the division. That then sets up, you can either build the feud and have them face off at Mania, which is what I would personally do. I would just build the tension between the two and then let them have it at Mania. Now, knowing how WWE books, they like to do trilogies, so you'll probably get something at Rumble, something at Chamber, and then the final showdown at Mania. But I personally wouldn't do it that way. And so I think that's where we head. I don't know if it's the best booking for Bianca Belair. I mean, it's a good story, but she's the biggest star in the roster, and she hasn't been in a title fight in what would be 2 years.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, because she was in the when Asuka won at SummerSlam last year. Was it SummerSlam or was it She was in that triple threat match where
You're right. You're right. I did forget about that.
It was, her Asuka her Io. No, who was it? No, Asuka walked into SummerSlam with the title, didn't she? And then Bianca Belair,
Bailey, Bianca, and Io.
No, it wasn't. It was when Io cashed in the Money in the Bank contract.
Right. So it was Asuka. I don't remember.
Asuka, Charlotte, Bianca.
It could have been that. No, probably if Charlotte was around back then.
I think it was Asuka, Bianca, Charlotte. Bianca won, then got cashed in by Io.
Yeah.
But to your point about the face and face or heel and heel, I mean, it could honestly be booking simple as like Bianca and Jade are just two boss bitches, and the locker room's not big enough for the two of them.
Right. It literally is like, I'm the EST, but Jade's like, well, I'm bigger than you, and it's just basically like a grudge match. Basically, who's the better of the two?
Yeah, I'm the fastest, I'm the quickest, I'm the smartest, I'm the runnest. Yeah, but you're not the biggest.
Right. I mean, and knowing how Bianca does her promos, and she can get pretty like petty at times, and we know Jade can get to that level as well. Like, those promos might actually be really really entertaining. Like they might start like putting that whole diss tracks and everything. That
yeah. Facts. That's gonna be my rant to end the episode.
All right. But with that, yeah, I think that would be pretty fun. But with that, let's talk a little bit about Backlash. We're not going to do like a deep dive, like some of these marks do, where we talk about the intricacies of every move. Like Dave, if you want that, Dave Meltzer's got you covered. He takes like 27 pages a show just to give the show like a 3 out of 5 stars.
I don't get how he writes all that while watching the match.
I don't understand it. Like
unless he talks to a tape recorder or something.
Right. So I guess the first thing is, let's go ahead and address the crowd, because this has sort of been like a point of like division in the wrestling fan base about whether the crowd was the best ever, or if we just need to sort of like calm it down for a minute. So what's your thought on the crowd? Is it a good thing? So I guess like the argument is like American crowds need to wake up because, they're going to take all the shows and put them in Europe because of how good that crowd is. And so what's your thoughts on this?
Before I address the France crowd, I got to address the online folks, the Twitter folks. Yo, stop with the disrespect on the Connecticut fan base, all right? No matter, everywhere I look, they try to say this crowd's dead, this crowd's dead. First of all,
they say that about every.
But that's they swear CT be one of the worst crowds. It's like, first of all, if you ask wrestlers, they say CT is one of their favorite places to perform in. I forgot whose TikToker interview it was that I had on my phone like literally 2 months ago. They're naming their favorite places to perform in. And Connecticut was like number 3 or 4 on their top 5.
I think I saw something that was like the top 5 top 5 crowds of 2023 or whatever.
I think it was Seth Rollins. Who said it. That's my thing. Like if you give us a product in front of our face, like if you give us Seth Rollins, we're gonna whoa. If you give us Dominic Mysterio, we're gonna boo. If you give us a good match like you do between Ilya and Ricochet and then Sheamus and Gunther, like we're gonna be making noise. But if you give us like a match between I like Zoe Stark, but if you give us Zoe Stark versus Lyra Valkyria, like what? Like we don't know Lyra, and first of all, you don't book Zoe Stark strong enough, so we're not gonna be interested in that. So unfortunately, I couldn't make it to Monday Night Raw last night, but if I could, I would have. but I couldn't make it.
Man, you missed two
I
of the
missed a
greatest
good
match.
one.
You probably two of the match of the year candidates.
And also, the CM Punk promo was a little weird. Like, it was a little.
I think it was weird, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone is out here saying it is.
It was weird because,
I just think it was weird because there wasn't really a payoff to it.
Yeah, because we thought Drew was coming back, but Drew never
Right.
came back, and it felt like it was a little stalling thing. But to address the French crowd, was the French crowd energetic and lit? Yes, but it's because they get one show every 4 years. So,
Right.
of course, when you come to the neck of the woods, they're going to be lit. And every other time we go over there, it's usually just like some live events.
Right.
So they're not getting like televised matches, televised TV. And there's a difference between being a live crowd and like taking over the show.
Right.
When you try to take over the show, it gets a little bit annoying. Like, every time there's a 2 count, they're chanting like simply 2 in French. I forget how you pronounce it, but it means simply 2, and it's what their French announcers say on commentary or whatever.
Right.
But it's like they had this whole chant for like a 2 count, and then like when you got like the roll up games against each other, like when they're trying to do the technical wrestling back and forth, you go 1 2 1 2 1 2, and you're chanting for the next 15 minutes. Like, I don't know. The crowd is live, but you're like trying to take over the show live. It's just a lot of energy. Kids can yell for 3 hours straight, but like when it comes to wrestling, you kind of gotta play a role as an audience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the good guys come out, you cheer. The bad guys come out, you boo. Don't force it. So like if you don't want to boo them, like they're not entertaining. Like for example, the Final Testament, they're not entertaining. So you don't have. So if you don't like them, don't say anything. Don't boo them or don't cheer them or whatever. But like when you just force all this stuff, like it's a good thing when you're built. Like when the wrestlers are making their entrances,
right?
And like they're doing the. Like Samantha Irvin's doing her thing, like the pre-match like announcements, and like you're chanting phenomenal or you're chanting for AJ, you do a little cheer to open up the match. That's perfectly fine. But when wrestlers are in the middle of doing like, I don't know, throwing someone into the barricade outside, or like doing like a simple leg lock in the middle of the ring, and you're doing like some soccer chants, like it comes off as unauthentic.
Right.
It comes off as like we're trying to be just known as a loud crowd. So, like a good crowd that I think is lively without trying to take over shows are crowds like Chicago has a good crowd, Philly crowd, which got down. The Carolinas got good crowds, and they're lively crowds. They react and they cheer, but they don't try to hijack the show.
Right. So, I agree with you on most of what you said. I think it's fine when a crowd, especially like when they don't get shows and they finally get one. For example, when they were singing Randy Orton's song, that's fine. He's on the way to the ring, participate. That's fine. But when the bell rings and the match is coming, or even with AJ Styles, he's a heel. His entire purpose in that show is to get you to boo him. But not only that, because it's a TV show, now they're trying to tell people who aren't in the arena, they're right. You said it right. You're playing a role. Now we can argue about whether or not you have to boo the bad guys or you have to cheer the good guys. I lean more in into that sort of belief system that if I'm going to be at a show, I'm going to boo the bad guy, cheer the good guy. You do whatever you want when you're at a show. It is what it is. But I do believe we have a role to play. And I've been sort of anti-European fan since I went to WrestleMania. WrestleMania 33, that Raw after was one of the most annoying crowds I've ever been in my life. They wouldn't shut up. You couldn't hear the promos. They're throwing around beach balls all over the place. They're doing random chants for no reason. And you sort of expect it with the WrestleMania crowd because a lot of people from Europe come over, at least around at least like pre-COVID when they were when travel was a little bit freer, and when WrestleMania wasn't as expensive. but it was one of the most. I hate it, Raw. I mean, the show was good, but the atmosphere was just, they wouldn't shut up. And for me, like, you have to sort of have the down moments so that the high energy moments mean something.
Yes.
If you're just screaming for 3 hours, like this crowd was, none of the matches from a importance factor stood out. They all were the same. You know, even like the little "Hey Bailey" chant that all the European crowds do, that's fine, but please stop doing it every 30 seconds. And I'm sure the wrestlers enjoy it. I know Bailey was singing along to it. But I think as a fan, I don't know. I'm not going to say it was a bad crowd, but I do think a lot of the IWC reaction to, oh, this is the greatest show ever. If this wasn't in France, are we going to say the same thing?
Honestly, I think an example of a really good crowd that was super loud was the Puerto Rican crowd last year at Backlash.
Right. So, yeah. Right. So
same pay-per-view just a year ago.
Right. They didn't take over anything. They cheered when they needed to. They reacted how they were supposed to, and you got a really good result out of it. You mentioned it. I know when Nerdy D talked about it on his show on the Casual Wrestling channel, he mentioned it about, this isn't soccer. It's just not. This requires lulls and peaks and valleys and how the crowd reacts. You know, I'm trying to think of, you know, Tiffany, Bailey, and Naomi doesn't require the same level of intensity as something like AJ and Cody did. And so nothing really stood out. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a bad crowd. It's kind of annoying. But I don't necessarily think it was a bad crowd. I think it's fine. But it's sort of the same mindset I had when Seth Rollins and everyone would cheer during the matches or during promos, his little chant. It sort of takes away from what's happening in the ring. And so I think there needs to be a balance of, we can cheer, but we got to make sure we're not hijacking these shows so that the performers who people pay to see, you know, can actually, you know, they can accomplish what their job is. We'll leave it at that. If the people listening, if you have a different perspective on this, leave it in the comment section. Let us know.
Real quick, just to elaborate on my point where it was like, yeah, so you know, you cheer the good guys and boo the bad guys, and then, you know, when they're cheering for AJ, you know, I'm not, you know, super strict when it comes to not cheering the good guys, or I mean, not cheering the bad guys. Like, for example, like AJ Styles, he might be a heel, but he's not like a cheating heel or a devious heel. He's just on a mean street kind of an asshole heel. So, like, if you like the, you know, the asshole, like, vigilante type of character, I feel like you can also cheer that against a good guy. But, you know, and then you can cheer a Gunther because he's not,
Right.
he has his Kaiser.
I think it would help if, especially in AJ situation, like, yeah, I would probably cheer for AJ, to be honest, because the babyface they put him against is the most cookie cutter, boring ass champion I've ever seen. I'm already done with this title reign. I don't know about you, but
I like it still. I'm still on board.
You can clearly tell I had nothing planned past, or like this is literally just, we got to wait till Rock is done filming this movie, and then we can insert him back to fight Cody.
And also, you know, he could just be one of those guys where, you know, he's a better chaser than he is a champion. You know, like a Sammy or like a Bianca,
Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, like, they're better chasers than they're, you know, Daniel Bryan. They're better chasers than they are champions a lot of times.
Right. All right. So when it comes to Backlash, so we have two different categories here. I'm gonna have match of the night and then your favorite match. They can be the same thing or they can be different. Let's start with what your favorite match of the night was.
My favorite match of the night was the the tag team match of KO and Randy versus the Bloodline.
Yeah,
Or
I
the new
agree.
Bloodline.
That was my favorite. And I like how, and instead of like promoting this as a street fight, they wait till the day of, literally the moment they decide to swap it, and they make it sort of like storyline. And because if you would have come into this and it was a street fight on paper coming into, everyone would have already suspected something was going to happen. So the second that they change it, Nick Aldis comes down and they change it. Okay, and then you look at the referee. I look at these little details. The ref, I call him the ref bump ref. He's the one that anytime Roman Reigns takes a ref bump, it's the same referee. He was the ref of this match. I knew something was going to happen. Now, I think everyone and their mother expected this to be Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
So when it was not, and it ended up being, what's it, Tangaloa, I think.
Yeah, Tangaloa, yeah.
It was a little bit of a surprise, and then I sat here and I'm like, I don't know about this one. Just, his run as Camacho years ago, some of his indie stuff I've seen, he's not the best. So,
if they're using him as just like a brawler, bring out his vicious side.
So that's sort of where I'm at. If they can sort of treat him as just this dude that like kicks ass, and he doesn't really have to do anything else but be sort of like the new bodyguard of the Bloodline, I think I can get behind it.
Like for like the Bloodline, for the most part of their run, no one's praised them for their in ring technical work. It's always been storyline, their brawls,
right?
Saying like they're really good at like non-traditional wrestling as far as brawling or like stipulation matches, like Hell in the Cells, whatever the case may be. Or like the more weapons you can use, the better.
Right.
They're like that suits them.
So with this, where does Jacob Fatu fit in? Is he going to be new Bloodline, or is he going to be with Roman in them?
So what I'm thinking is, the real question is, do we have like a Team Rock versus Team Roman where each of them have their own 4?
That's so that's,
or do you incorporate Roman?
My assumption and how I'm feeling they're doing this is that Rock and Roman are going to be in the matches. And so I think it's going to be Rock with like 3 people behind him, and then Roman with 3 people behind him.
Nah, the numbers don't add up. So I think you get the Rock, who takes who's like kind of like the ambassador of Solo side,
right?
And then you get Roman Reigns, who's the ambassador of the Uso side.
Right.
And so I'm thinking is like all we need is one more. We need one more Bloodline member, because you're gonna have Jacob Fatu, who's gonna join, who's Solo. So it's gonna be Solo, Tangaloa, Tama Tonka, or whatever it's and then you're gonna put Jacob Fatu over there, and then you got the Usos, Zilla Fatu, and then you need one more. So, or you put Jacob with Zilla, and you have the whole Fatus over there. Like you got Jimmy J, Zilla, and Jacob, and then you get the 4th one for where you can get him, and you put him on the MFT like side of things.
So is it confirmed that Zilla Fatu is coming to WWE? Because everyone keeps bringing him up, but he just started wrestling. I don't think he's coming to WWE. So where I think it's going to go is it's going to be Rock, Solo, Tama, and Tanga versus Roman, the Usos, and Jacob Fatu.
Okay.
So I think it's just going to be 4-on-4. The match will happen probably around SummerSlam or Survivor Series.
Probably Survivor Series.
Or that'll probably be one of our War Games matches. I don't think Zilla, if Zilla participates, it may happen at the actual, Survivor Series War Games match. But I don't, because the way this is coming down is, and Paul Heyman sort of confused me with his last promo. Like, I haven't spoke to Roman since WrestleMania. Well, it's obvious who's calling the shots. It's The Rock. And I think we're setting up the sort of moment I've been saying they need to set up, where someone asks Solo, "Hey, who's doing this? Who are you doing this for?" "Oh, I did this for The Rock." All of this is done for The Rock. And I think we get that. Maybe we get a Rikishi. I want Rikishi a part of the story somehow. Because I think people forget that like Solo is Jimmy and Jay's brother, and so there's still like brotherly beef there that we could probably have Rikishi play like mediator, and like you don't want to do this. These are still your brothers. And so I don't know. I think I'm interested. Again, it's sort of gotten stale, and now they're sort of like reamping it. This bloodline runs deep. We can run this story for the next 20 years and still have new people join it. I don't think we should do it that long, but I don't know. It's just, I mean, theoretically, anyone that's Polynesian or Samoan can join this feud. We sort of, with the addition of Tonga and Tangaloa, you've sort of inserted actual people that aren't actual family into the story. So you can anyone that's, which is why it upsets me, because I've always been saying Bronson Reed should have been put into the story somehow, because he is part Samoan, and I feel like he would have been more beneficial. I mean, I like his booking now, but when he first came back, they really didn't use him for much of anything. And I think that was more of a Vince McMahon thing, and then Vince finally left, and Triple H is going to give him the Intercontinental Championship. So
I'm still waiting for Nia Jax and Naomi to get involved in the Bloodline.
Well, that's my thing next is like, when are we going to start adding the women? Because that'll bring a whole different dynamic.
Tamina,
I don't necessarily think we need to bring her into this, but yeah, Nia Jax, Naomi. I mean, there's not many that are like Polynesian.
Like if we were still like 2.5, 3 years ago when the Bloodline was forming, I wanted Tamina and Nia to be tag champs and join them all holding all the gold.
Right.
That's what I wanted a while ago.
Right. All right. So what was your match of the night? Was it the tag match, or was it something different?
Nah, the match of the night was Cody AJ.
Yeah.
As far as like a technical wrestling and all, hitting all the moves, they didn't have the benefit of just like using weapons to get over. Like they had a really good match.
Right.
Yeah, that's my match of the night.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one as well. It severely overperformed what I thought we were going to get from it. And as like every time AJ Styles steps in the ring, I sort of like, well, he proved me wrong again, because I'm sort of like a secret AJ hater. Just
you're waiting for Father Time to catch up.
I feel like he shouldn't be doing what he's doing and putting on these banger matches at his age. But yeah, I mean, he's talking about retirement. I think he could go another 20 years if he wanted to. I mean, shit, if Billy Gunn can wrestle in his 60s, I'm sure AJ Styles could.
True.
But yeah, that match was, I'm not going to sit here. A lot of people are like, well, that's match of the year. I'm not going to sit here and say that.
No.
I think there were 2 matches on last night that were better than that match.
True.
And so, I mean, overall, I'll give Backlash like a 4 out of 5.
I'll give it 3 out of 5.
I think it served its purpose. So now we're moving on to the next PLE. It's King and Queen of the Ring, live from Saudi Arabia. And we get the bracket on Saturday, but then they changed. I guess Asuka I don't know if it's a legit injury or if it's a kayfabe. She's like hurt all the time now.
I don't know. She gotta be blocked. So I try to reach out to her and wish her my well wishes.
Oh man! And then Drew gets removed for injury, and that's how Jay gets involved. We get Dragunov and Valkyria debuting yesterday. Just a banger of a show. I didn't watch the whole thing. I sat and watched the sort of recap of it. But I guess when it comes to King and Queen of the Ring, we know the Raw side. We know the SmackDown side for the men. We don't know the SmackDown side for the women, which tells me one of two things: they don't know who they're putting in it, or they're trying to save some surprise.
That's why I was kind of interested by that because when they showed the graphics, they showed SmackDown,
right,
and it was just a bunch of vacant faces.
Right. I think Charlotte Flair is the surprise.
It's too soon. I still think it's too soon. I don't think we see her until after Money in the Bank, maybe.
We'll see. I think she's the surprise. But with that being said, it's kind of hard to ask for predictions for the women because we don't know who's on the SmackDown side. But at least from the Raw side, who do you think will be representing Raw in Saudi Arabia for the women?
Oh crap! Let's see. I low-key forgot who wrestled last night. I watched the show.
Okay, so Valkyria beat Dakota.
Yep, yeah. Io beat
Natty.
Zoe beat
I done forgot who she fought.
The Pitbull, Ivy.
Yeah, Ivy, and then we have Selena and Shayna happening at a live event this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not worried about those two. And then what was the other one? Is there another match happening at a live event?
That would have been that's Rey Mysterio and Kofi. Is that a live event as well?
Oh, I thought there was another women's match at live event.
No,
I guess not.
No.
See, I don't think it's gonna either be Zelina or Shayna because if they were gonna win, their match would make TV. So
part of my question is are they doing this because Shayna is on NXT tonight and they didn't want to risk her getting hurt?
I just think they just booked too many matches. They have enough time.
Yeah. That's probably what it was.
I mean, low key. I mean, like there's some of these filler matches where like neither girl is gonna win or neither guy is gonna win. You know, why not throw it on a live event? You know,
so I don't hate
get more tickets. You know,
right? So I don't hate the live event idea. I know a lot of people hate it. Like, oh, it's a 3-hour show. You could have squeezed it in there. But there's a marketing here. So let's take the men's for an example. I'm assuming because Raw typically runs the Saturday live event and SmackDown typically runs the Sunday. And so I don't know where they're going to be at this Saturday, but let's just imagine maybe you're holding out. These tickets typically only go for at most like $40, $50. Let's say you're holding out going to this event. And then you see, I got Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston, 2 former champions, 2 Hall of Famers, and I get to see them fight, and it actually means something this time. I guess Shayna Baszler and Zelina Vega, probably not going to be the greatest match, but it actually has some sort of meaning. I think you promote that and you promote the show, and I think it does a lot of good for the overall marketing. I think if they can allow these house shows to mean things, more people would go to them.
Also, I feel like Monday Night Raw did a good job at packing their show last night. They fit 7 matches on the show.
Right. So yeah, I mean
that's a lot for a WWE show.
So personally, I don't think anyone from the Raw side is going to actually win King or Queen of the Ring, but I do think it's going to be Lyra representing Raw. Ooh, I don't know if there's anyone else that. I mean,
I can see Io or Zoe,
right? Because I think the semifinals, the finals for the Raw side of the bracket, which if I did the math correctly, will happen the episode I'm going to on the 20th, which has me pumped. We'll talk about why when we talk about the men. But I think the finals is going to be Io versus Lyra, and I really think we'll get I think Lyra, I think they're really trying to push her to be. I'm a little bit frustrated that Kiana James isn't in this, to be honest with you, because you sort of just like draft her and she's not going to be used for the next month. So, and then whenever SmackDown finally decides to announce who they have, maybe we can talk about it next week. But on the men's side,
I'm looking at the bracket. So you got Stark. So you got Stark versus Lyra Valkyria next week or whatever when they're really going to do it. I think I do think if Lyra wins that matchup, I think she goes to the finals. I think the finals is either going to be Lyra or Zoe. So whoever wins their
Okay.
matchup is going to be in the finals.
In the final. Okay. So now on the men's side, we know the SmackDown, we know the Raw, we know the fullness. Now, unless there's changes to the SmackDown side like they did for Raw, we'll talk about the Raw side because we saw 3 of the 4 matches on that side, first round advance. Of course, with that Ray versus Kofi happening this weekend. None of it's really surprising. Next week, though, I think we have it's Jay versus Dragunov, and then Gunther versus the winner of whoever wins at the live event. Gunther's going and winning. He's going to the semifinals, without a doubt. Does Jay win, or are they going to give Dragunov the push?
I can see either Judgment Day or Drew McIntyre causing Jay the win next week.
Yeah.
And I think Dragunov goes to the. He's probably gonna face who? I'm assuming Gunther.
Yeah.
I assume you get Dragunov versus Gunther. And in the conference, I'll just call it the conference finals. That's how I know. That's how I know this stuff.
Right.
Or what would it be? The quarterfinal, semifinal, whatever. The semifinal.
It'll be the semifinals. Yep.
Yeah. So you got Dragunov versus Gunther in semifinal. I think Kaiser gets involved. I think Giovanni Vinci might get involved. If not, you just have a straight haymaker fest between the two of them, kind of like similar to their NXT UK days.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I see Gunther making it out the Raw side. Let's see. I got Styles over Orton. I think the Bloodline interferes in Orton's matchup. Okay. I got Corbin versus Hayes. I guess you put AJ Styles versus Carmelo Hayes would be a nice matchup.
Yeah.
But then you got Corbin's first match back. He loses.
It's not even close. Carmelo's winning.
Yeah, Styles versus Carmelo Hayes, and then you got LA Knight versus Escobar and Lashley Tonga. I assume you have AJ. You have Randy or KO return a favor and cost Tonga, and you put Lashley over.
I'm assuming that as well.
And you get I think Lashley versus LA Knight.
LA Knight, yeah.
Or Escobar has his people who can help him out. And you get Lashley versus Escobar.
Right.
And then Escobar versus AJ?
No, I think it's Carmelo.
And then you think Carmelo versus Gunther
at Saudi. But they have the greatest continuity decision they could do. And I want it to be Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes.
Ooh, okay.
Continue their story from NXT and make it and introduce what us who watch NXT saw for the last year and a half to the main roster. Because I hate to do this to him, but Nerdy D sort of underestimates how good Dragunov is.
He does.
Bro, this dude, I don't care if it's Gunther, McIntyre, Sheamus, Andre the Giant. Dragunov got the it factor. Dude, I get it, he's 5'7", but so is Braun Breaker. Like,
maybe Giovanni Vinci gets his revenge and costs Walter the match.
Yeah, I could see it.
So Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes, we lock that in for King of the Ring.
I'm locking that in, and I think Carmelo's going to win. Like you said, they'll do something to Dragunov. Maybe it's Giovanni. Maybe that's how they get Dragunov into Imperium. It would just kind of be weird that he just fought Gunther the week before, though. But
I don't think Dragunov joins Gunther.
I don't think so either.
He's too big to be Gunther's lackey.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the guy who beats Gunther. He's the David versus Goliath. He's the David.
Right. Yeah, but I'm telling you, I will be in the building during Raw semifinals, and if it's Gunther versus Dragunov, it's be the best match I've ever seen live.
Yes.
And I got good seats this time, and I'm gonna fucking be cheering the whole time. I might be the only one cheering, but I'm gonna be cheering the whole damn match.
You're gonna be the French crowd.
Just for this match. Just for this match. But yeah, I'm gonna lock in Dragunov versus Carmelo. Though more than likely it's probably gonna be Gunther versus Carmelo because that'll still be a fun match either way.
And then who is Zoe Stark versus Nia Jax cleaning the ring? Because Nia Jax on SmackDown now, so Nia Jax might work. Lyra versus Nia Jax cleaning the ring. In Saudi.
It's hard for me to put someone over when I don't know the bracket. I think Nia Jax is going to be a part of it, but Chelsea Green's probably going to be in it.
Yeah, but like, who's gonna be on the SmackDown bracket? Do you think they incorporate Bianca and Jade? Do they?
No, I don't think it's them.
So
Chelsea, probably get Chelsea. You'll get Nia.
Indy maybe or Candice.
Probably both of them. Probably Indy and Candice on separate ends.
Zelina, Nia. Oh no, Zelina's on Raw. No, wait. Zelina's on Raw.
Zelina's on Raw. Shit, who else is on this roster?
Lola Vice. B-Fab. You throw one of them in there?
I mean, you could put B-Fab in there. Not going to do you no good. But
is Valhalla?
Probably Tegan Knox.
Is Valhalla on Raw or SmackDown? Raw.
She's on Raw with Ivar. Yeah. Which we got to talk about this, man. You can't be a Viking on Raw then be a biker on NXT. You got to stay in the same gimmick, my dude.
I think they got to drop the Viking gimmick, bro.
I thoroughly agree. All right. I have this hot take here, and I'm sure you read it and be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But I don't know if you pay attention to commentary as much as I do. In normal sports, like if I'm watching hockey like I was yesterday, or if I'm watching basketball or football, I typically just don't care about the commentary. It's not really important. But in wrestling, I view it as part of the story. Michael Cole's job is to sell me on why what's happening on TV is important. And so I pay attention to it. And my hot take is this. We don't need Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's quite annoying. When it's a week-to-week thing. I think for me, in the same way that we just said the French crowd or the European crowd takes away from the performers, I think Pat McAfee does the same thing. When the cameras are on Pat McAfee yeeting it up and not Jey Uso, you're taking away from Jey Uso.
I think I don't know. I think Pat's kind of the reason that he got over a little bit with the yeets.
But he was already doing it before Pat got there.
Yeah, but I think Pat adds. I think Pat adds more than he takes away. I think Pat adds more.
I'll say this: I enjoyed Backlash more than I enjoyed WrestleMania's commentary because Pat just says some out of pocket shit that makes no sense.
I like the out of pocket sometimes.
I don't know. I feel like he just. I know Michael Cole likes being there with them, and he's fun at times. But I feel like on a week-to-week basis, I don't necessarily know if he's needed. I guess is what I'll say. I feel he takes away a little bit of my enjoyment of the product because. So, for example, I'll say it this way: everyone, Royal Rumble, not this year but last year, and San Antonio, Pat was like a special guest commentator, and they had the Hardy do like a performance in the ring, and everyone shat on it about how bad that Hardy sounded. But it wasn't even him that they were hearing singing; it was Pat, because Pat doesn't understand when to shut the fuck up. And so like because people that were in the arena said it sounded good, but the people who were watching on TV were like, "Well, that was the shittiest musical performance WWE's ever done." And I can understand some of them may not like that style of music. But a lot of it was just because Pat was singing along off key, and that's what you were hearing. on the microphone. So either A, you got to mute his mic when he's not supposed to be talking, or B, you just got to tell him to shut the fuck up.
I definitely like Pat a lot more on SmackDown. I liked when he was over there with the Bloodline stuff, and him and Cole were doing their thing on SmackDown.
Right.
On Monday Night Raw, he's not bad.
I
do feel like he helps wrestlers. I feel like he helps certain wrestlers get over. And I like when the wrestlers interact with him and you can hear him respond. He reminds me of like Jerry the King Lawler. Now, like, is Jerry the best commentator? No, but he had personality behind the mic, maybe behind the headset, and like when wrestlers interact with him, like when CM Punk interacts with him, the past couple weeks about how long the promo was or whatever, and then Pat like actually replies or like he'll tell him to take a picture and like you see Pat actually taking the picture of him or something like that. It adds more of like a when you're watching like an old animated cartoon, right? And the background is animated differently, but something's gonna get interacted with because it's like slightly animated, like forwards with the rest of the characters. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes the background and the atmosphere seem more interactive. So it makes the set of like the ring and everything seem more interactive when it's like the wrestler interacts with whether it be CM Punk dapping up Samantha Irving on his way to the ring, or him interacting with Pat McAfee, and like I like when Pat brings kind of the football thing where he does a replay of earlier tonight.
No, I do like that part. I like that they what do they call it? Like the padistrator or whatever now. But I mean that's fun. I know a lot of people. Well, my brother shits on it every time they do it, but I think that's pretty. I think there's segments that Pat does that's fine. I just think like Pat McAfee's more useful when it's like, hey, surprise, it's WrestleMania. Let's put Pat McAfee here. I don't know if we need him on a week to week, or even on like a pay-per-view to pay-per-view, because I think him being at Backlash would have been too much with the crowd plus Pat screaming at us. So I don't think he's needed at every show, and I think Backlash sort of proved it.
I do like the trio setup where it's him, Cole, and Corey. Because when Cole kind of runs like the middle guy, but leans a little more towards Pat, and then Pat and Corey bicker at each other.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Also, if you get rid of Pat, what's the new pairings then? Who do you put with Cole?
I mean, that's a good question because you done fired everybody. Because I don't want to split up Vic and Booker T. They got perfect chemistry on NXT. Yeah. What's it? Corbin and Corey are really good together. I mean, the only other person you could that is even there is Byron, and I don't do it. So I mean, you would have to find somebody to replace him. But honestly, I would love for them to give someone like Kayla Braxton a chance at play-by-play.
Okay.
I know they tried it with Renee, and she just wasn't good at it. It is what it is. Not everyone's good at it. But I think, or even to be honest with you, CM Punk. Like, I don't think he's got much longer in the ring. Maybe finishes Drew feud, but dude's really good on commentary.
You gotta do him and CM Punk. I mean, you gotta do him and Seth before CM Punk hangs it up. You gotta revisit that feud.
Yeah, I feel that as well. Titus O'Neal, he's still in the company somewhere.
True.
He proved himself. Big E, you got people there that have personality, but I think also understand like you got to balance it out. Which is why I think they've put Big E on some of these panels on the pre-show. I think they should, remove him from there. I would even like to see, they got like Michael Rosenberg, who has like he's like known in the sports world. He's not the best like commentator, but I'm sure he could move into that realm as well. Now I don't know if Pat's going back in the fall to do college football.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he re-signed. But I mean, I know he's having fun. I'm not like a hater of him. I just think at times he takes it too far. And I don't know if he's hurting Jey Uso more than or helping him more than I feel like he may be taking from Jey Uso. Like I'm just not the biggest fan of him. Like, jumping up on tables and doing all that shit. Like, I think there are certain rules. Like the referee shouldn't be like Aubrey Edwards, all this shit, and like trying to steal the spotlight. I think the commentator's job is to get them over without without stealing the spotlight. And I feel at times sometimes people look at Pat McAfee in that way of like, I want to see how he reacts to this entrance. So to me, that takes away from Jay's entrance.
I would say though, I think Pat is a big reason why Ivar's getting over. Having Pat on commentary for Ivar, he puts Ivar over big.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say like he does help a lot of. I think for me, it's more so him and like his reaction to Jay is kind of annoying to me at this point. It was the same way when he did it with Shinsuke. It was really annoying. He would just jump up on the table and act like a fool. I get some people like that, but I don't know. I guess people could say the same thing about Booker T with Trick Williams. I think it's a little bit different. I think he adds
ducky, quack quack.
But I think he sort of adds to Trick's entrance with the yeah. I like it. Plus, they've sort of made it like an inside joke when anyone else does that now. Booker T tries to sue him.
Yeah, I like the way Barrett does it.
I forgot who was it. Was who did it last week? It may have been Trick himself who did it when his music was playing. But like Trick got some trouble with Lash Legend on NXT. I think we're gonna figure out tonight. Let's move on from my little hot take there, and let's talk about. We kind of already started talking about this Bloodline story, so we'll move on to Triple H here. He was asked at the press conference, which we really need to figure out how we're going to do this, because I'm tired of these fucking nerds asking the most stupid ass questions. We either got to kayfabe this shit and you got to pre-approve questions, or, I mean, honestly, that's the only way you should do this. Like, there should be no reason why this question gets asked at a press conference. Basically, the question was like, was Drew Gulak released because of sexual allegations? And I have the video here of Triple H's response, so I'm gonna play it real quick, and then we're going to respond to it.
Well, first of all, if you're going to cite news sources, pick good ones. That's where I would start. Credible, really, maybe. Yeah. We release talent all the time. We have NFL releases 400 or 500 people a year, players a year. We release talent all the time. It's a part of what we do. You cannot just hire people, bring them in, keep hiring more people, and just keep bringing them in. So an unfortunate part of the job is talent get released. Can I say that he was released? He was not released. His contract was just not renewed.
Preach.
So the first thing I want to talk about is this dude done got every IWC member in the world upset because he calls out Fightful and PWI.
Good.
And he's got Sean Ross Sapp and all these other nitwits over there that work at Fightful with their panties in the wad and cussing all these people out and blocking people. Good. So what's your response first to that?
Good. Fuck him. Saying condolences to Sean Ross Sapp. I know he lost a family member recently, so condolences to you. But in another breath, also fuck Sean Ross Sapp. All right. You know what I'm saying? As far as like his journalism, your personal life, condolences to you, sorry for your loss, but you as a wrestling quote unquote journalist, like fuck Sean Ross Sapp. I don't know. He blocked me before I even say anything to him. I think he was going through one of his like emotional rants or something.
So every day,
and someone told him to like calm down in the comment section, and then he was like, "Well, whoever thinks I need to calm down, you're just gonna get blocked." So I said, "Fuck it." I replied underneath the thing. I said, "Calm down," and then I checked back like 2 weeks later, trying to figure out who got released or whatever, And it said Sean Ross Sapp blocked me, and I was like, "Fuck it, he's just a crybaby." But anyways, like he literally, like there's a lot of things where I feel like their journalism and their credibility comes into flaw when it's like The Rock of all people. The Rock confirmed that Drew McIntyre re-signed with WWE. Like, you know, a guy on the board of directors confirmed, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we gotta confirm to see if this actually happened or not." Like, bro, The Rock literally told you that they re-signed, or like WWE. The source is WWE. WWE confirms, or WWE tells ESPN something such happens, or like they're going to Las Vegas next year for WrestleMania. Fightful sources tell us that WWE is selecting Las Vegas for WrestleMania next year. Yeah, sources as in WWE themselves, who already said 20 minutes ago that they're coming out. Like your brother says the best $5 in the world. This is the worst $5 in the world. Because first of all,
no, go ahead. You can finish.
Everyone else just like they just retweet his stuff. Guess what? I still see what Sean Ross Sapp says. Just by people talking shit about him or like retweeting it. Guess what? You don't got to follow him or get the $5. And also, you have Triple H, who is the head of their thing, telling you that these guys aren't credible. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing when they have sources at AEW because they're butt buddies and they pay for their info and they're best friends with the elite or whatever. That's one thing. Or you got Dave, who's butt buddies with Kenny Omega, or he used to be. Now his new butt buddy is Will Ospreay, where they get every single piece of inside scoop because, like, you know, they beg for it on their knees. But when it comes to WWE, where they're less likely to tell you every little thing because guess what? That's not how a real company is run. We're not going to tell you every little thing that goes on backstage.
Right.
And then you have all these like, potentially this could happen, but also there's also a likelihood that so-and-so might happen, and they give themselves like 5 different outs rather than just being concrete and telling you what they're reporting on.
My problem is, I've been saying this since at least Triple H took over. Triple H understands that how to run a company, but also how to book, and that, you know, you got to live. If he's going to bring in a surprise, you know, I've been saying he has someone there, whoever speaks to the media, that he sort of, you know, drakes everybody and they feed him false information.
Yep.
And I've been saying that for at least 6 months. Triple H is telling these dirt sheets were bad information on purpose. Dave Meltzer's the worst. He gets everything wrong now. I don't really pay attention to Fightful because I don't like Sean Ross Sapp. I think, you know, I don't want bad things to happen to him. You know, whatever happened in his personal life, like you said, condolences. But I don't like him as a person. I think he's a shitty person, dude. There's no reason why you should cuss your customers out. There's no reason for it. And I see it a lot where, and it's not just him, it's everyone at Fightful. They don't understand that the people you're reacting to, the people they're your customers. There's no reason for you to act the way that they act online. And so I don't care about fight. I don't care if they're the most, and I know they're the most accurate. They confirm all the info. There's no reason to confirm it. It either happened or it didn't.
They're bullies. Right.
They're bullies. You know, Sean Ross Sapp, you can deny it all you want, but we literally saw you live stream fucking cocaine. Like, it is what it is. I don't really care, but don't be upset when Triple H of all people calls you out for being not credible.
He was at some wrestling meet and greet thingy. Like, you can see like Matt Cardona in the background, like signing T-shirts or whatever. Right. And Sean Ross Sapp is like nose to nose with some other. I assume he's an online personality or journalist or something. I don't know who he is. I saw PWR talking about them.
Right.
But Sean Ross Sapp was nose to nose trying to tell the guy to hit him or something.
He thinks because he has friends in the industry that he's cool. And that's 90% of the online wrestling fan base, because they get a little bit of clout in the smallest niche of any entertainment fact. It's quite weird to me that people can start a podcast and start to think they're hot shit. You know, how many journalists are out there? Just because you have a website doesn't make you a journalist. And so The second part of this conversation that I want to have is, you know, I kind of been shit talking Ronda Rousey for getting Drew fired. Turns out, hey, that's not the case. But where do we get this information from? We get it from Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer that he got released because of these allegations. No, this turns out his contract died.
Yeah.
So Ronda, I apologize. I still don't.
Maybe it made it easier not to renew his contract. But
I
at the
agree.
end of the day, he wasn't released. He was
I
not
agree.
renewed.
So I take back the you got him released comments. I still think that you're a bitter cunt, but but that is what it is. So but then it's come out that Drew Gulak's a bit of a bully himself.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that situation? Dude's like dropping people on their heads or targeting injuries and
I mean,
Bob Holly and people.
Yeah, so essentially, what came out is that, say if a wrestler had like a messed up shoulder, was working through an injury, Drew Gulak would put like a shoulder lock and just wrench on their shoulder. Try to probably put, bang up a little more. So fuck
Right.
Drew Gulak too. Fuck Ronda Rousey, fuck Drew Gulak.
Right. No one's good in this situation. And if it comes out that Drew Gulak is, if he's out here fucking trying to end people's careers, it wouldn't surprise me if he's a douchebag and tries to assault people or try to grab Ronda Rousey inappropriately. It wouldn't surprise me. We just don't know.
Well, wasn't his brother or something also in the news?
His brother got like arrested or something. His whole family's got a they're a little shady. But
question, is Ethan Page related to Adam Page?
No.
Okay.
They're completely different. He is a free agent now. He's going back to TNA. That's the only place they'll take him.
Yeah, I saw him crying. He was crying a little bit, but then he was promoting his action figure.
When I liked Ethan Page before he joined AEW and when he was in TNA, him and Josh Alexander were a tag team, and one of the greatest tag teams in wrestling at that point. And then he left and chased the bag and didn't really get pushed, like everybody else who chases the bag in AEW. That doesn't end up getting pushed. Speaking of which, Ethan Page is off the roster. When are you going to take Paige Van Zandt off the roster, Tony Kahn? She hasn't wrestled in your company for 2 years, and you're still paying her. While we're on this, you're paying fucking Riho $400,000 a year to wrestle 10 matches. I don't know about you, but
apparently what I heard is that a lot of these wrestlers in AEW are on per appearance. Like they get paid per appearance.
So it's an indie show.
A lot of them, I think Rio's guaranteed, but a lot of guys on that roster aren't guaranteed. They're paid per appearance. That's why a lot of these guys are only getting booked like 3-4 times a year.
You can't run you can't run a pro company that way and expect me to take it serious. You're a glorified indie show. I'm sorry. If your roster's not even guaranteed to be on there, first off, why are they on the roster page? And second, you're an indie show. Just admit it. If AEW just admitted to themselves we're a glorified indie show, people would like it more. Or at least respect it more.
From what it sounds like, there's some of these wrestlers who sign like 2 or 3 year contracts or whatever,
right? And
so it's like you're on 2 or 3 year contract and you're paid like say $5,000 an appearance or whatever, and then everything else is indie dates along those lines.
All right, so last sort of major news here is WrestleMania is in Vegas. We finally got the announcement. The first question, you trying to save the go?
Low key. I'll have a better answer after the summertime because the summer I'd be balling in the summer. I'd be going out too much. I'd be too active. I'd be outside making movies.
I feel that. I don't know about Vegas though. It's
low key. I would be down to like say we went to like NXT Takeover or whatever.
Right. So I was going to say that as well. Like just going to do all like the meet and greets and shit, and not like just going to like Vegas got a nightlife. Like just go every bar there's gonna be packed with wrestling fans.
And
That is
then
so
you watch the shows live at the hotel. Like we'll get like a suite or something. And
right.
then, that's what I was saying because I like the commentary. I like watching it from the TV.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with like what we're gonna afford at Mania is gonna be all the way up in the ceiling.
That's what I'm saying. So you go stay and deliver, and
Right.
then you know all the boys get together. We get a hotel or whatever. We have a viewing party in the hotel or a viewing party at the bar or something.
Right.
And then we're just there surrounded by other wrestling fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'd be down for.
Yeah, I'll be down for that. That'd be fun. But are you happy it's in Vegas and not Minnesota?
I mean, I didn't really care either way. I was good.
It did.
I think it has more potential to get bigger names that have bigger matches because it's going to
Right.
be Las Vegas.
We'll probably get some bigger celebrities to show up. I think for me, like I kind of expected this to happen when the press conference for this year's WrestleMania took place in Vegas. I mean, it's no sort of secret that UFC. I mean, they have their performance center, for lack of term, in Vegas. Like so, UFC. You know, this TKO, the Endeavor, these connections they have. It would not surprise me if UFC runs an event that weekend as well.
What are your thoughts on NXT Battleground going to the?
I want at least one match in an octagon. It would be cool if instead of an actual ring, we got all the fights in the octagon.
That'd be interesting.
I think that would be cool, but
or at least the fight pit. Bring the fight pit back.
Right, the fight pit, absolutely. And then the last thing about Mania, it's the weekend of 420, and all the wrestling fans made a joke about it. You know, Riddle's coming back, RVD's coming back. But I like the date being pushed back. One, it's less of a drag to Backlash. There's no reason we need a month between Mania and Backlash. There really is no build anyway. It's your draft. But also, you're not battling with March Madness, which is taking away from your viewership. So I like this idea. I hate that it's still 2 days, but we're never going to go away from that.
I just cooked in my head real fast.
See, Triple H and I are this man cooking ideas in the
middle. No, not for WWE. If I was an indie promotion.
Oh god!
Because you know all the indie shows have their shows in like WrestleMania City,
right?
Because you know they got to piggyback off of WWE. But anyways, so if I was an indie promotion, I would host a 420 ladder match. All right, you know what I'm saying? The prize is in the sky. 420 ladder match. You get like RVD versus Matt Riddle versus Jeff Hardy. And you know whoever else, you know, do a little smoky, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you get like, you know, who else got in trouble for like weed? Or is notorious for weed or something like that.
I'm sure there's someone out there.
But yeah, no, you get Jeff Hardy versus Matt Riddle versus RVD in a 3-way 420 prize in the sky ladder match.
Like a blunt on a pole match or something.
You get a ball hanging from the top above the ring.
That's hilarious. So with that, let's move to some questions. Kara left us a couple questions here. So the first one, we'll start with this one. She wants to know if you're a believer in Joe Hendry. Yeah, because
I am indeed a believer in Joe Hendry.
So look, the song is catchy. He's kind of entertaining. I just don't get the fucking reason why people like this dude so much. I just don't get it.
I believe in Joe Henry.
I mean, the song is catchy, but before we get into these would you rather, she asks also, what do you guys think about Cody's real life heat with R-Truth? I have no idea what she's talking about.
No, it wasn't real life. It wasn't serious. He was making fun. He was making a joke that his story isn't truly finished because when he was wrestling as Stardust, he was losing every night against R-Truth, like at live show.
Okay.
And he was like 0-43 or something like that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
He was cracking a joke saying that he has to get revenge on R-Truth or something like that. It wasn't real heat.
All right, perfect. And I really had no idea what she was talking about. But let's go to these would you rather. She leaves us 4. The first one, would you rather perform Randy Orton's entrance or Chris Jericho's entrance? I'm assuming she means his WWE entrance because his fucking AEW sucks.
I'm taking Randy Orton, but I'm taking younger Randy Orton. When like 2005 or whatever, 2008, 2005, when he'd be like at the entrance or whatever he'd do, or he's in the ring,
and
then the gold shower falls behind him.
Right. Yeah, that was back when he had what the fuck was the name of that song?
Hey, nothing you can say.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna change what you done to me. But back when they had good theme songs.
Right. Yeah, I'm picking Orton. Orton's my favorite wrestler of all time. You damn straight I'm picking him.
I mean,
Plus Jericho.
Y2J is not too bad though.
Jericho's entrance is fine, but it's, I mean, outside of the like holding your arms out, and I mean that's about it. You don't really do anything like. Anyway, second one, would you rather have a WrestleMania match with The Miz or a match with trippy Titus O'Neal?
Are they both at WrestleMania, I assume? One with Miz or one with Titus O'Neal?
I'm assuming that I went off of that assumption as well.
I'm taking a match with Miz at WrestleMania.
Absolutely. It's The Miz, which means it'll probably be upper card. Have some
promo battles.
Have some importance, some promo build to it. Plus, The Miz is safe as shit. I ain't got to worry about being injured.
Titus O'Neal hasn't been in the ring in I don't know how long. Especially on TV. He could be rusty.
Right. Third, would you rather have Tony Kahn book your whole career or job for WWE stars, get guaranteed payday, and have no termination? This one's like really easy. Bro, I would sit in catering for guaranteed pay if that's what they wanted me to do. You gonna go to AEW and let Tony Khan ruin you?
Well, no, because there's a blueprint on how they get in with Tony Khan and the Elite. You just gotta kiss their ass. You gotta defend them on Twitter, and then you'll be booked into like a world title or an international title. Or the FTW or something, you'll be booked on TV continuously, and also he might give me $3 million just to wrestle 3 times a year. Who knows? I might Mercedes Moné him, but I think I might be a jobber for WWE and get guaranteed payday and no termination.
With no termination, I was gonna,
So Tozawa,
right? Or I mean, this doesn't really fit anymore, but I'm gonna Dolph Ziggler him. And spend 10 years, don't change my gimmick, don't change my promos, don't add anything
and then wonder why I don't get pushed,
and then complain because I don't get title matches. And then the last one, would you rather tag with 2011 Miz or 2013 Dolph Ziggler?
2011 Miz, was that the Miz that was winning tag team championships with like every other person? Or was
I think so. That was the year him and Truth were like heel champions, wasn't it?
Yeah, him and Truth, or he also had like him and Big Show's like Miz Show or whatever.
Right.
And you had like him and John Morrison.
Yeah.
Yo, Miz is an underrated tag team specialist.
Yeah.
Same shit. Oh, what's your quick question? Did you see what your boy Ric Flair in the restaurant or something?
Don't call that boy my boy. Fuck that motherfucker.
He's a fellow Carolinian.
We only claim him because he worked for Crockett. That motherfucker from Minnesota. Don't let him try to trick you. No, that motherfucker needs to calm the fuck down. Why we're still giving him press, I have no idea. This dude. The bigger news with him is he just fucking revealed his last match like 2 years ago. He had a heart attack during the damn thing. And then he just sat there and said, "Oh, I thought I was dehydrated." No, motherfucker, you're 90 years old. Get the fuck out of the ring. All right, so we'll end it there. Any final words before we end this recording?
Shout out Kara, shout out B Master, shout out T Squire. Shout out Bum Ass Corbin. Shout out Vanessa.
Witters.
Oh, shout out the Witters. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now.
Right.
Shout out Cody and James.
Cody and James. Check out their show on Thursday. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you, on this Thursday, live at 9. Also, this Thursday is going to be when my solo episode drops. That's the day I'm off. I got to work this Friday, so it'll be out on Thursday instead of Friday this week. And so that episode is going to be fun. I'm going to do a more in-depth sort of like Backlash review. And what else I'm going to talk about there? Oh, I'm going to rank. I saw this this post about the current world champions and all the major promotions. I'm going to rank them. So tune in there. And you'll get to watch that. Anything else you wanna say before we end this?
Yo, Kara, get on one of these shows. We gotta have you on the show.
Right,
okay?
fact.
We gotta have you on the show. So get on the show. Also, Cody and James. I'm gonna send y'all a message, but I challenge you guys to an event that I'll give you more info about.
Oh boy, you're gonna leave me in the dark.
Also, I am writing. I'm gonna have an article for the Junkyard Media page for the website. I'm gonna have one up by the end of the week, so keep an eye out for that article.
Ooh. All right, we heard it here from WavyD. Keep an eye. That's junkyardmediagroup.com. You can go to the blog section there. Check all the social media links out as well. With that being said, until the next episode, y'all have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you on the next one.
Brother, I'm going run a wild Hulk Hogan. If I like get some moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this jaw cord. But it's no